Hey guys, some information was recently brought to me and I wanted to share it with you guys, and a huge shout out to WaterKH for sharing this with me. This video is just to inform you on some recent stuff that I learned about, and you guys can make up your own mind whether or not this is going to lead to something or not. It's definitely interesting enough to talk about, but in some ways it might be a little bit of a reach, and I'll talk about both sides of it. As most of us already know, they've implemented the Newton's Cookbook feature, which allows us to take less valuable gobble gums, melt them down to make better ones. When you actually go into the cookbook to make new gobble gums, you're going to see a screen like this. This one's a blank one because I'm not doing any gobble gums. But if you notice up at the top left, there's a formula laying underneath a piece of paper. I mean, it looks decorative, like, a formula, maybe some physics on it. It's helping to support the idea of the Newton's Cookbook. And you can only see a portion of it, so you don't think too much about like, oh, well, there's something here to solve. You can't see the whole page. But actually, it is a cipher that we've already solved from Horizon. And another huge shout out to WaterKH. He's the one that actually solved it, and he was talking to me about this, and he said, there's something really kind of suspicious about that little piece that they exposed right there. Let me first very quickly remind you that us zombie fans are kind of OCD about things like this, and Treyarch knows it. They are very well aware that we are going to break everything down and tear it apart and try to find everything out about it that we can. With that in mind, and then seeing that little corner of that cipher on that page, it makes you question, were they intending something here? Are they trying to give us some kind of a clue? Or were they just trying to find textures and models that looked like physics and it just happened to match, and they didn't have to go and make anything new. They just slapped it in there to make it look good. So this cipher that was solved has nothing to do with Newton's Cookbook or gobble gums or anything like that. And I'll show you guys where it's at on Horizon. There's 4 chalkboards around the map, and they have all these formulas on it, and there is 4 sections. And when you put them all together and decode it, it reads like this. Division 9 has completed the resurrection of the ancient beast for your eastern front. We expect Group 935 to reciprocate the favor. The portion that is on the cookbook is section 1. It's at the very bottom, and it basically decodes into the word "the" right before the word resurrection. And again, I am just showing you guys this information. This is what was brought to me, and I thought it was interesting. And again, it could be a huge reach, but it's still something that could be possible. Given the fact that this cipher has 0 to do with Newton's Cookbook, there's nothing to do with Division 9 or, the dragons or even Russia. So, it's like, well, they just used it because it was a formula and they threw it in there and it looked good, So you have the cipher that has 0 to do with Newton's Cookbook, but we did notice the word resurrection that was almost in the cipher that they showed. It was like the next word. In the back of our minds, we're thinking, oh, well, maybe this is some kind of a clue. They didn't come right out and put resurrection right there in front of us, but it was definitely the next word. And they know we're going to look into this stuff. We really want more zombie content, so we're going to be picking anything apart that they give us that's new. Again, this could be a huge reach, but it kind of messes with your head because you're kind of like, oh, maybe, there's a possibility. And then you think, no, this is just ridiculous. That's too far of a reach. They're just doing it. It's decorative and just forget it. Once I saw this information, I started to really think back about other stuff we've seen. And one thing that really made me question this being a possibility is that wave gun that we saw on the giant loading screen. I started to think, well, they remastered the giant, and then they have the wavegun blueprint behind it. Is that a map that they're going to remaster too? And that's why they're, together in this loading screen. We've never gotten any answer why there's a wavegun blueprint. Makes no sense. And then this image pops up, the remastered moon looking screen on the left, and then how it looks really similar to the giant. And I don't need to remind you about the wavegun blueprint on Combine. Then there's the remade moon loading screen, and of course Moon was a part of Resurrection back in the day. And now we have this cipher that's completely out of context on Newton's Cookbook. The only thing that makes sense is that it's a formula, and that's the only thing that matches. When it's actually decoded, it talks about a type of resurrection. They did resurrection on Black Ops 1 and brought back 5 of the maps, and I guess we're all hoping that this could be a clue towards a Resurrection 2.0. Again, it's a huge reach, but we're so hopeful that we're looking for anything at this point. I don't know if you guys remember this, but before Revelations came out, this is the way that the maps were laid out inside of the leaderboards. And right before Revelations came out, they moved Garag Kurovi up to the first row. And a lot of people thought that that didn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just add Revelations to the second row next to Garag Kurovi? Why are you moving the maps and shifting them around? A lot of people speculated that they're trying to make room for future maps, and there is plenty of space for several more maps. And here's a look at the potential that this extra space has with these other maps. I personally am really on the fence about this. I feel like seeing Resurrection in that cipher is, interesting, and in the back of your mind you wish and hope, but it really does seem like kind of a stretch, and maybe it's not something that they intended. But then again, they know we're crazy and we're going to go and look into absolutely everything, and we're going to be looking for any kind of clues that tell us anything. So hopefully they were aware of that when they did that and they're not just totally messing with us. I'm undecided about this, and I'm really curious to know what you guys think about all this information. I'll make a poll on my Twitter. You guys can vote and just, see what you guys out there think about all of this. I'll have that Twitter link to that poll down in the description so you guys can vote. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next video.